Hi everyone, this is Paul Gerard. I'm a student loan consultant working with the American Dental Education Association, ADEA. We have some important information to share with you about financing your dental education as a member of the class of 2023. In this short module, we'll take a look at cost considerations, we'll take a look at smart budgeting and how that can lead to responsible borrowing during dental school and responsible repayment after you graduate from dental school. We'll take a quick look at the national figures on dental school debt and give you an idea about what kind of student loans you may have in your student loan portfolio when you graduate from dental school. We're going to give you a quick preview of repayment strategies. What are your colleagues who've already graduated from dental school? How are they paying back their student loans? And we'll close this up with some action items and some resources to help you along the way. Now, in terms of cost considerations, your financial aid office will provide for you every single year a financial aid budget, also called a cost of attendance. This is an extremely important number because it represents the maximum amount of financial aid you can get from all sources combined each year. Now, you'll notice that within that budget, there are some things that are under your control: room and board, transportation, personal expenses. So when you're devising your budget, look at the things you have control over and don't obsess about things you have no control over, like tuition and fees. Once you find out what the monthly living allowance is in your financial aid budget, commit to living at that amount or below that amount, as that will help reduce your borrowing. Never borrow more than you need, and even though with federal loans you can borrow up to the full cost of attendance, don't borrow that much money if you don't need it. And finally, be sure you talk with your financial aid office if you are considering taking out a private loan. Now, a quick follow-up to the previous slide. If you make poor budgeting decisions during dental school, perhaps you're living above that monthly living allowance, you may be forced into a repayment plan after graduation that you really don't want, because your first priority has to be paying down your consumer debt. The flip side of that is if you borrow under your monthly living allowance, maybe you start out by not borrowing your full cost of attendance, you preserve the option for later if you need to, and you delay the start of interest accrual. Because two of the loans that many of you will be borrowing, the direct unsubsidized loan and direct plus, they accrue interest as soon as the loans are dispersed. And lastly, if you don't track your loans every year, you're going to be looking at possible sticker shock when you have your senior loan exit interview. Now, this is a look at the most recent dental school debt numbers. These are from the class of 2018, and these represent indebted students only. You'll see the median at just over $288,000 and the mean or average at just over $285,000. Notice toward the bottom, just over 22% graduated with either no debt at all or debt under $100,000, but just over 40% graduated with more than $300,000. So these numbers really do confirm the importance of borrowing responsibly and not borrowing more than you really need. Now, this is a listing of some of the different loans you may have in your student loan portfolio as you go through dental school and then graduate. Federal direct unsubsidized loans, federal direct plus loans, campus-based loans. These are loans where the school serves as the lender, and also private loans. Now, note that we've highlighted direct unsubsidized and direct plus loans, and the reason for that is these two loans make up the bulk of, if not all of, the student loan portfolio for many dental school graduates. So let's take an in-depth look at each one of these two loans. Now, the direct unsubsidized loan is somewhat of a foundation loan for dental school students. This is one you will likely take out each year, whether you need more money or not. This loan is sometimes referred to as the Stafford loan. You can borrow $40,500 a year, and some dental schools will prorate that amount up slightly each year based on the length of your financial aid budget. These loans have fixed interest rates, and the rates change on new loans every July 1. So you may be getting out of dental school with 4 direct unsubsidized loans. They will likely each have their own fixed interest rate. We're recording this in July of 2019, and the rate for the 2019-20 academic year is fixed at 6.08%. These loans have a 6-month grace period, meaning they'll come due 6 months after you graduate. The lender for these loans is the federal government. These loans come directly from the federal government, hence the name, but the government will assign an organization called a loan servicer to work with you in repayment. Since these are federal loans, they have multiple repayment provisions, and they are eligible for forgiveness and eligible for the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program for borrowers who meet those requirements. The second federal loan is called a Direct Plus loan, also sometimes referred to as Grad Plus, and we referenced this earlier. These loans have no annual limit. You can borrow up to the full cost of attendance, your financial aid budget, minus other aid, including the direct unsubsidized loan. Now, once again, a reminder, don't borrow the full amount up to your cost of attendance if you don't need it. These loans also have a fixed interest rate. The rates change every July 1 on new loans, just like they do with direct unsubsidized loans. And the rate is always 1 full point higher than direct unsubsidized. So this year the rate is fixed at 7.08%. These loans don't have a grace period, but they have something that is similar called a 6-month post-enrollment deferment. So they should be coming due 6 months after you graduate. And same thing, the lender is the federal government, but they will assign the servicing of these loans to a third party called a loan servicer. Since these are federal loans, they have multiple repayment provisions, and they are eligible for forgiveness, and they're eligible for forgiveness through the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program for borrowers who meet those eligibility requirements. Now, we promised a few comments about repayment strategies for your colleagues who've already graduated from dental school. One of the things that many of them are doing is simply to find a repayment plan with a manageable required minimum monthly payment. And then they do one of two things. They either aggressively pay over and above the minimum required amount, targeting the additional payments on their most expensive loan. That's a very popular way to pay down your student loans as quickly as possible. Or if they have cash flow concerns, they may simply make the minimal payments for a designated period of time. They may also make minimal payments if they're trying to qualify for the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program and maximize their eligibility for that program. But the trick, if you will, and it's common sense, find a repayment plan where the required minimum payment is comfortably within your budget, and then decide if and when you want to aggressively pay or simply make the minimum payments. Some of your colleagues are looking at loan repayment help that is tied to a service commitment with programs like the Armed Forces, the National Institutes of Health, and the National Health Service Corps. Now, as we close up this module on financing a dental school education, some important action items. First of all, be sure to stay in touch with your financial aid office. That's going to be a very important relationship while you're in dental school. Develop a realistic budget and stick to it. Find out what that monthly living allowance is each year and live at or below that amount. Be sure you set up an online account with your loan servicer, the organization that is handling your federal student loans. Start thinking about a repayment strategy now. You've got 4 years to figure this out, but it's important that you start thinking about how you want to handle your debt before you get out of dental school. Use the AAMC ADEA Dental Loan Organizer and Calculator to help track your loans and your future payments. We're going to show you that website on the next slide. So some important action items for you. And finally, some resources that should help. The National Student Loan Data System, nslds.ed.gov, that is a federal database that lists every single federal loan you've ever had from college, post-bac programs, and it will list every federal loan you have when you take it out during dental school. The AAMC ADEA Dental Loan Organizer and Calculator that we call DLOC is available at adea.org/DLOC. This is a terrific calculator that will not only help you track your payments, but lets you go in and run estimated repayment numbers based on your career plans, including advanced dental education. Your loan servicer's website, very important resource for you, and federal student aid at studentloans.gov. On behalf of the American Dental Education Association, congratulations to you as a member of the class of 2023, and good luck in dental school.